Okay, I think we're good. I don't know how long we got because the battery's pretty much dead on that thing, so we'll have to,
Move quick.
yeah.
And we will move quick.
Not that we have anything specific we were going to talk about. We just want to keep going.
No. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, do you want to do like an intro though?
No, I don't care for those anymore.
I like it. I like it. Just straight talking.
Yeah,
So,
just start talking.
well, only because we kind of stuck on it and we just, more or less toured a location for it, networking. Right? Let me first ask this. Prior to today, did you ever think you would pay a membership to a place
No.
to try to network and get business out of it?
No. Well, yes and no. Let me. So back when I first started my company, I had asked some other person, and this was, my first company, right? I was like, man, how, like, I'm trying advertising. Of course, I was advertising in the wrong places, blah, blah, blah. Learned all that. But I was like, how do I get in front of the right people? And they didn't use the word networking, but they said, you need to be where those people are. You need to be in front of those people. So, the place that we just went to look at, I was like, I knew of it and I went, ooh, I need to be in there, right? But I didn't know how. I thought you had to live in there to be part of it. That was it. I didn't think there was any other way in. So I was like,
Oh, I thought the same thing.
yeah. So I was like, damn, all right. So that's not going to work. But I didn't. So I knew I wanted to be in something like that, but I didn't know how to get into something like that.
So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think you and I actually did the same thing to get into Golden Ocala for the first time, which was the little news book thing, which was complete just a waste of.
Yeah.
I think it was like $900. I did, and I got scammed on it.
Yeah.
And this, scammed. Obviously, he sold me an advertisement that just did not work.
Yeah.
But it made me think for a second. Maybe
Yeah.
something would come from that. I still have never received a phone call from any of those
No, I didn't.
advertisements.
I didn't do Golden Ocala. It was Juliet Falls Golf Course. They put me on the scorecard, and I did a little booklet. Same thing, right? Nothing. Not a damn.
It looked good.
Didn't even look good. I thought it was a good idea. I was like, that's it. And then
Yeah, a catalog. And the thing is, like, I can't even. A catalog of ads. Mm-hmm. That's all the book was. And it wasn't like there was anything solid in the magazine, in the booklet. It was just a book of ads.
Yep. Yeah.
But it sounded so good.
Yeah. So, to get back, I was like, I need to be in front of the people that I want paying me, right? So how do I get there? And I just never thought about doing the obvious, which is join their country club. You know what I mean?
Well, to be honest, and I don't know if this is small town talking, we didn't grow up near any kind of country clubs. We didn't and the only times we did, it was when we flew down south to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale, to visit our grandparents and our aunt who lived in a private community-ish.
Yeah.
At the time. That was the biggest experience outside
that was
of
luxury living.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And then now fast forward in the last 2-3 years, definitely with the traveling I've done with the businesses, it is a shock what's actually going on in the world. When you come from a small town, you don't understand how sheltered you really are when it comes to networking and just understanding what normal people do. And I say normal in the sense of if you're up in the mountains, what you do for day-to-day activities, even for fun, is completely different than
those who grew up in that gated community. That
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a completely different lifestyle. And
yes, I wouldn't trade that. Like I used to love. I can't do it here.
no, I
Riding bikes till midnight, freaking not having to worry about.
I don't know how many times I fell out of trees climbing them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, made me a better climber.
Yeah.
But it's things like that. Like, I wouldn't give up any of that because it made me. I like the blue collared
Yeah, yeah,
background
absolutely.
that I have. I
Absolutely.
love the blue collar background because it allows me to do whatever I need to do when I trust
I
myself.
think it makes you a better problem solver too
It
when you have to
does.
work
I
with your
agree.
hands like that. Of course, again, not all people, there's some that is, that's it. But it definitely, I think, makes you use your head a little more when you got to work with your hands and you're doing hard work. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I mean when you're working a 12-hour day in the sun and you come home and you're like, I made $200 today, and you go back the next day and you keep on like that builds a certain grit in you
yeah, yeah,
that I don't want to give up, and I would never like trade that off to be in the private country clubs at 12.
yeah. No, 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 no.
Because I feel like I would rather take that blue collar and learn and get into that lifestyle later than start there and be so. I want to use sheltered in a different way,
Right.
sheltered from what the normal person has to deal with.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Excuse me. I got.
Crying over there.
Yeah, yeah. So emotional, this conversation. I've never. Nobody's ever talked to me about country clubs before. um, uh, how do you do that as a parent now? You know what I mean? Like if we do end up deciding to move forward with one of the country clubs, right? If we want to join one of those communities, now that we're able to, what do you do with your kids? You know what I mean? Because you don't want them to be that, oh, my dad's gonna sue you, and don't step on my nice shoes.
My dad owns more money than you.
Yeah,
No. I think that balance comes from right now with our kids because they're young, about to be born.
yeah,
We don't live in the communities, and I'll say yet, and I don't think I'll ever live in a community like that. Owning memberships to them, completely different. And I think that's where I will draw the line in the separation to where I don't want my kid to live in a privately gated community. And I understand the security behind all of it, but I would rather live in my own private 40 acres.
oh yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? And then go to the clubs as a social event because I'd rather my kids be associated with other kids in that group because it accelerates their lifestyle a lot. Now, the life lessons that they have to learn, they're going to be mowing grass when they're 13 and they're going to be figuring it out.
absolutely.
And I think that's the separation where I think when people get into those communities, the more of the higher net worth, it's my kid's too good to do that. I can pay someone to do that. My kid shouldn't have to lift their finger. Absolutely not.
No.
My kid's going to do all of that to figure out that they can do it, and then they can actually pay someone, but it's better if you learn it first.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the separation of where I'm going to, hold the line to where we can be in those communities. I want you to be in those communities. It's something that I never had the ability to, and I know how quickly one good connection can make.
Yeah, yeah.
So definitely something I'm going to have my family partake in, but I don't think live in, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that I think that is a kind of the perfect answer because that's the last thing I want. I want my kids to have a better life, but I don't want them to be spoiled.
We just need a 1,000-acre compound somewhere, and we just have our houses on there.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, like that's the other thing. Like I want them to be able to ride their bikes on Main Street in Indian Lake, like not in Indian Lake, but like Indian Lake.
Yeah. They can. I'll just own 1,000 acres and I'll make a town that's completely safe and they can ride their bikes through there and then it can deteriorate after 13 years and, 14 years and they can play on stuff like we're used to play on.
That's the issue. Like I hate the fact that they probably won't be able to do the things that we did. But I mean, that's every generation,
And that's the thing is we got away from that because when you put your kid, and the thing is, the way we grew up, nothing wrong with it. It's how a lot of people grow up.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, do you want to put your kid in the same environment that we had to struggle to get out of?
Yeah, no, exactly.
And that's the thing is, yes, the kids can have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Inside that environment, you can create fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what comes along with that environment.
Yeah, so that's the tough thing, right? Because I'm a firm believer that if we didn't go through what we went through as kids, then we wouldn't be where we are now.
Agreed.
Right? And I want my kids to be able to do what I'm doing, but I don't want them.
How do you make them as strong as you are?
Yeah, and I obviously don't have the answer. Like I'm just now a father, and I'm with a toddler.
How do you build that adversity into your kid?
We'll figure it out as we go. But I'm just saying, like that's a question that's constantly in my head. Like, to be a good father, should I be neglecting them so that they learn early, or should I be? You know what I mean? There's a happy medium.
Oh, trust me, I know. And
it's just funny that I think about it all the time. Like I'm letting them down because I am feeding her 4 times a day. Like I'm giving her snacks. Like, fuck, I should probably stop giving her snacks. You know what I mean? Like she should go hungry one night. You know what I mean? That's what I'm. Obviously, she's only 18, 20 months old, but like, I think she's 21 or 22. Doesn't matter. She's almost 2 years old. All right, so that's gonna die. But so like these questions aren't anything that's going to be answered for years. You know what I mean? Like it really didn't start like your daughter's age. When
I was going to say, I had the same questions you had.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I'm not. Well, I mean, use it as your examples, and you saw what I went through in the last few years with the military, and then transition out, and then being a business owner, not really being. I was working 6 days a week for the last ever.
Yeah.
Now I'm finally dialing it back to 5. But out of all that time, I might have not been there, but creating adversity, I can't complain how my daughter's came out and how she is like at all.
Yeah, right. Right now, though, I think is where it gets critical because now she's remembering 100%. Everything. Like
100%.
I don't even know how old I was my first memory. I guess 3. That's crazy, right? To think that 3, just because I remember when our parents got divorced, and instead of saying, "Hey, we're splitting up," Dad just said, "Hey, there's a big truck outside. Who wants to go for a ride?" Because he had a U-Haul packed up, and I was like, I like trucks." So I remember that, and I must have been 3 or 4. I must have been 4. So that's my first memory. So that's what I'm thinking. Like Isabel, your daughter, every single time that she's over here, I'm like, is she gonna remember this? Is this gonna be one of her memories? You know what I mean?
Well, I think I was a little bit older for my first memory, to be honest. I think I was like 5.
Mm-hmm.
My first memory, if you can believe this or not, is when it was the first night from Michigan. We were at Mom's. We were in the cots down in Josh's room.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw up the first night and threw my blanket over it and didn't. And I thought it was just it was a dream. Month later, not a dream.
Oh, I don't remember that. Month later, but
I got in trouble for it. And she, why didn't you tell me?
Well, we were coming from somewhere where we were afraid to tell anything.
So to breathe. Yeah. So
that's another thing. So the night we got there, that was my memory when we first got to.
Oh well, no, I guess that's wrong. I'm terrible because, I guess that's the first memory in.
Yeah, I was like you remembered.
I remember throwing the rock at your head.
Yeah, me too.
I say that in that I threw it straight up in the air, and
it landed on my head.
It landed on your head, and I swear, you went at it as you did it on purpose.
I was pretty certain. So, like, that's the other thing.
Yeah, and all of us, it was a group of us just throwing it in the air. And
I was also throwing rocks, but yours was targeted. It was very clear that it was a planned assault.
It's okay, because I still got in trouble for it.
Yeah. Well,
because we had to miss school and go.
Yeah, I remember.
I remember, too, because I stood in the corner for hours.
Oh, did you? I don't remember that. I remember that I
remember a lot more. Never mind. It was way before Indian Lake. That was just the first one there, I guess.
And I think I have one memory prior to the divorce because I remember a water gun underneath the sink at that house in New York that we had lived in. But that is it. Very first for sure. Like, so I must have been 3 or 4. But anyway, yeah, I know, like in when you threw that rock, let's go back to that. I remember, when I was 6 or 7, right? And that rock, I thought had gone like 400 feet in the air, like in my head. And now I'm thinking, man, we probably went 7 feet up. Like we didn't even hit 10 feet with those rocks as high as we were throwing them. But it was a big ass rock because it split my head open pretty good. I definitely should have gone to the ER or something. Nope. Dad picked us up and put some paper towels on my head, and we spent the day in the truck. That was it.
I mean, it can't be much. I mean, luckily, I had bloody noses, and I mean, when I fell off, I probably should have went to the hospital.
I remember that night too.
Probably should have definitely went to the hospital.
Yeah, you were bleeding for hours, and you broke your nose. Obviously, it's still messed up, but
I should have went to the hospital.
yeah, absolutely. Same thing when I got that big
And I was just gonna say that it's like
piece of wood in my leg.
how many things were just pushed.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I can't say I won't be similar. You know what I mean? If it's actually something dangerous.
Well, no, 100%.
But for the most part, we can handle it. I don't need to spend $6,000 for 2 stitches.
100%. I mean, I think obviously there were some calls that didn't need, like, and I'm still on the day, like, I haven't been to the hospital for an emergency.
Yeah, you guys should have just brought me home when I broke my leg. Absolutely no reason to take me in.
You understand? You picked that thing up. And
Yeah,
went
yeah.
90. Like,
Yeah.
It was clear in half. There was no.
Yeah.
We couldn't go.
No.
But you want to talk about the worst experience I've ever had about trying to answer questions someplace?
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Because while you were in the whatever you want to call that emergency room, little hospital.
Because it was before you guys came in.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it came in and you were in that one room, and literally you walked out, and it was like the waiting room, and that was it. Like, it was so small.
Yeah.
We walked in. I think it was Tim, right?
Tim. Yep.
Yep. He went over to check on you. They called me over, like, "Oh, you're your family member? Yeah. Okay. We got so many questions for you. Oh, so many.
Oh, good.
Okay. How do you spell your brother's name? Bruh, what? You said what?
That's a good one.
I was like, okay, so we're already starting off on a bad page here.
That's funny.
And that whole time, it's like it was so terrible because they're like, okay, so you live here, okay, spell it.
That's right. Gundle Court, you talking about? Yeah,
And like, look,
no idea.
and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me! Like, the last thing I want to deal with right now, while my brother's in the other room with a broken leg, is trying to have you have a spelling bee right now with me. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, take a guess at the word. Your guess is better than my guess.
Yeah.
Literally, and it's better than mine.
The worst thing. I'm gonna go with is there a
Z?
Yeah,
is that a Z?
Yeah. Is there a Q? Is there a silent Q? I'm gonna go.
There's a U that follows after Q. You sure? You sure? Is that a rule?
The worst part is, like, it's not like now where you could say, "Hold on a second, pull out your phone
And like, I'll
look it up."
No,
There was no phones.
there was nothing, and it's like, okay, you want to call your mom? Sure.
Luckily, we knew our house number, but guess who wasn't home? No. Yep. That's funny.
So it was that was a very interesting night. It was like literally 30 minutes of torture
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And then I walk in there and see your leg they pick that thing up and just
Yeah. What's crazy too is I broke I don't remember the
tibia.
tibia, and then there's the fibia
Yeah.
or whatever.
The fibia didn't break, but it should have broke when he picked that mother up.
That's
that
what I'm
thing
saying.
had some. Your bones had some flex in them.
How was it able to bend that much when I have a second bone in there that didn't break?
I was shocked. They did not do that, and it clean snapped. They didn't do no pins, nothing.
No.
They just was like, you know what?
Now it's an inch shorter. My whole
You good?
right side is an inch shorter than my left side.
Well, no, they didn't line it up. They just said, They picked it up, bent it, pushed it back, and it's good. Like
that was just the hospital. They just put the splint on. But when I went the next day to get the cast, he goes,
I didn't go with you then. I don't think.
He goes, we're going to go ahead and put a cast and try not to put any pins in this thing. If it moves around too much, we're going to have to pull the cast off, do surgery. And I said, okay. So the next day I go there, or the next week, because I did 1 week. Every week I went. The next week he goes, it's moved. He goes, but that's about the max amount. I'm okay with it moving. And then by the third week, it had started fusing. So he was like, well, we're going to leave it. And now I'm screwed.
So you should have had pins.
Should have had pins. Yeah.
Because it was a clean, like, you snapped, like, it wasn't like a fracture. Like, in half.
It was a good one.
That thing went.
Yeah. It was nice. Damn it, our mood lighting is gone.
I know.
We'll have to actually get some actual lights someday, but that's my DeWalt
special.
Yeah, that's the DeWalt work light. It serves multiple purposes. So anyway, yeah, I don't know how we started talking about all that, but it's kids. You know, to get back to that, like I'm sure every parent does it, but like that's what I'm super worried about is I'm gonna spoil them too much, and
this is what I guess I'm gonna come to the realization of, and what the world probably comes to. Mm-hmm. Not when you are 11 and 12 and already matured. Okay?
I don't know about 11 and 12 and matured, but I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
We came out at 18 of the like.
I was like, you came out at 18? Is that something that we're telling the listeners?
We graduated and left Indian Lake at 18 and fully knew how to be adults from start to finish.
Right, yeah.
That's what doesn't happen, to where the world allows people at 18 to go into the world to first experience it, and it takes people usually until our ages to figure out how to be adults.
Yeah.
We didn't see that dynamic. We have to allow our kids to use that dynamic to where we try to help them out as much for the first 18 years, but out of those first 18 years of lessons, they're then going to have to figure out life for the next 5 to 10 years. We never had that because we already had it.
Yeah.
Our kids are going to have to live through that, like the normal, how I would assume normal, like the dynamics are.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I continuously think about is being, teaching your kids the ability to problem solve is like,
oh no, huge.
Yeah, because if you're doing everything for them, then all they're going to do is call you. And I've seen that multiple times, right? Where, a kid, and this isn't, I wouldn't say it's not bad parenting, but that's just the normal, right?
You're just coddling them, and you built it into them to use you as the resource.
Yeah. So there's all right, so there's both sides of this, right? So if your parent is a good parent, is there for you and does everything, right? When you're 29, you're still calling your parent when something comes up, you know what I mean, to get their advice, right?
Yes, which it should be normal.
Totally fine, right? And then there's the flip side where there's us, where
we don't call nobody because
it doesn't matter. I immediately go to work and figure out, outside of you and Carissa, right? There's nobody else that I call to try and get help for something.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, so like that's the thing. It doesn't matter what it is. You know what I mean? If I can't figure it out, then we don't need it. But and
there's nothing I can't figure out. So
exactly, like I'm
if I want it, I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, there may be a better way, but 100%. It doesn't matter. I'll get it done. So I think it's important that you teach your kids that. So that's what I'm shooting for, is to be able to teach them to problem solve and take care of themselves while still being there and being, active and available. But I don't know.
One of the biggest things I think and I don't know how we have, it's just really her personality, I think. The fact that Isabel gives so much and is like willing to help out no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know how that got instilled.
Yeah.
But man, dude, that is, I'll run with that trait until I can't.
Yeah. It'll it'll be interesting to see, because this is something that I didn't think about until Carissa's kids, right? Our sister's kids. That's where I was like, oh. So my interpretation of having kids was if your kid's running around being an asshole, it's because you're a bad parent, right? So basically, that's what I thought. And then I realized that each kid literally just has their own, like, they come out different people. And I didn't think that from birth that they're immediately different. I just thought they're going to be whatever their parents are. I don't know why I thought that given our circumstances, but
yeah, no.
I thought, if you're a good parent, your kids will be good, but it's just not the case. Like your kids, you'll have one that's great and one that's wild. And that's just who they are. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean you're not a good parent. You're still doing the right things, and they listen and stuff. But like,
it's their personality.
It's 100% personality. So I'm really curious to see what happens next week. Over the next couple of years, we'll see how that develops. And you guys, like yours, you took a pretty big gap there, but you got a 6-year-old and it's almost a year old. It's almost 8-9 months.
And I'll probably, so September 7th, so 8 months?
Yeah.
9 months will be
whatever. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, so you have, like, there's a big difference. So, I mean, she doesn't really have a personality yet. She's still a baby, but she's going to start now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Things are going to start changing, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, do you have the same princess and well-behaved and well-mannered child, or is this one going to be a nightmare? Like, I'm wondering to see what happens.
And see, I'm sitting there too and going, I think we will be just fine, and we will have 2 Isabels.
Yeah, and there's a good chance. Like that's what I'm wondering. I don't know, and also I don't know if there's a factor that plays in the fact that you waited. You know what I mean? You have one.
I think one of the biggest factors that plays into it is having both parents be on the same page at all times.
Well, yeah.
That's one of the hugest things is...
Yeah, you can't be contradicting each other.
And the thing is, there's not one time, I don't care how cute they look, the girls don't pit me against...
No,
it does not matter. I don't care how much I have a job to be done. I am a father before I am their friend.
Yeah.
And that is well known.
Absolutely. And that's, that everybody says, when you have a daughter, they're going to get whatever they want, but
no.
Already no.
I love my daughter but the thing is, if I give her absolutely everything, she will not be my little princess for long.
That's it. Yeah. I'm not. So, I mean, mine's only 18 months or whatever, and no, it's more than that. It's almost 2. I
know you want her to be younger. It's not gonna happen.
So it's 20 months. She's 20 months.
It doesn't go backwards.
Yeah, so she's 20 months, and already like, nah, I don't like her mom's giving in, and you know what I mean, more than I do. I'm like, I don't think so. You're not doing that around me. So it's gonna be worse because I got a boy coming. He's gonna be screwed.
So. And like I'm done. 2 girls. That's it. I think about this all the time. I'm so glad I don't have a boy because all of the bullshit I've been through. Mm-hmm. There's no way I can have. If I have a son, he needs to be better than what I am. Exactly. There's no way my son will be able to step up. And I'm not saying that because I'm better than anyone. I'm saying that because there's no way he can relive through what I went through.
Yeah, exactly.
To be
I don't
able
want that to happen. Yeah. So not only that for me, like there's all those not stipulations, but stigmas about, I'm never good enough for my dad, which there's going to be a little bit of that. You know what I mean? I'm sure I will exude that a little bit. I'll try not to, but I'm strict with my daughter, and I know it's going to be worse with the boy. You know?
That's the thing is, I understand it now.
Yeah.
Being a father, like, okay, more tough on the boys than the girl. Like,
absolutely.
I get it to the fullest because if you're not strict with that son, life is going to suck for him. And he's going to be the fairy little princess.
Yeah.
who, and I don't care about views or anything. Like,
no,
it,
no,
it's just not worth it.
no, absolutely. It's
And I'm not saying that's wrong, but you going around with fingernails painted up and whatnot, like, think about that for a second. You're a man going around as a female.
Absolutely.
Stop.
I saw a video the other day that said, my wife and I get matching nails, and it seems to bother a lot of you. And I went,
You mean your wife gets matching nails with her wife?
Yeah. I'm 100% on the same page. I'm not raising a softie.
Oh my God.
And that's my opinion. You know what I mean?
It's my opinion.
Yep.
And the thing is, you ready for this? One of my best friends is gay, but he does not do that stuff.
One of my best friends is gay too.
He's
getting married to a woman here in a couple months, but he's also no.
Okay, that doesn't make sense. We couldn't marry, so
yeah. Well, I have to do a speech for him.
No, I know.
It's gonna be said in there for sure.
And like it took me a second. As soon as I said it sparked on who that was.
I don't mind. So that's another thing that we'll get into. But I don't care about what your sexual orientation is. What I do care about is you shoving it,
down everyone else's throats.
I don't want to say that. But yeah,
I did because of
to parade around like that. Like, no, I'm not doing it to you. I'm not constantly, walking around. I'll stop right there because I'll start saying some stuff that's not funny or not. That's a little too graphic. So, but you get what I'm saying, and I agree 100% with you. My son's not going to think that he's a cat, and he's not going to go to school dressed as a cat and try and pee in a litter box. All right.
No, and this is my biggest.
Neither will my daughter. Let me start.
I think it's the quote, and I'm not going to try to restate a quote to exact. But
because you always mess them up. Yeah.
Every time. But it's the simple quote of tougher times.
Yeah, so it's hard times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. Right? There's a third one in there, but that's basically
yes. And I believe we're at that soft times.
Yeah,
hard men are going to create these.
Which is what's going on.
Which is what happened after World War II, and I'm saying it from that generation onwards. Cold War, the Vietnam era, like all of that. Those are the real men, men who risked everything to make sure. And I'm not just saying the people who went to war, the people who had to still stay back and be in the factories, still had shitty days doing 18-hour days in the factories. But guess what? They still went up and did it because that's what had to be done.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that nowadays, and that's the issue.
Right.
I'm not saying the people who in your bloodline helped out with your generations. I'm not saying any of that. Take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the average American, because machines have taken over what men used to do, we are in some soft times nowadays.
Yeah, and it's not only the machines too. It's there's more millionaires now than ever before, and so they're making it easier for their kids to not have to learn the hard stuff. So, which is a dad's dream. You know what I mean?
I want to make my kids' life easy as heck, and that's what everyone goes at. But is what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
By doing that, all you're doing is breeding a weak individual.
Exactly.
And you're just adding to the issue instead of helping.
Exactly. Yep. And so that's the dilemma that I face. Every father, every mother, we all are, I'm sure, well, I won't say all, but most.
The good ones that actually care about their offspring.
I'm not handing everything to my kids for that simple reason, is that they need to learn how to solve problems and get things done by themselves. I'm here to make sure you're alive and can survive by yourself. That's basically.
It's funny. I think in my eyes, if anything ever happens to me and my money has to go somewhere in the future, I've already made up my mind. They get $1 million of whatever the equivalent is of $1 million each. That's it. If they have learned from me, they will be able to make their own money.
Yeah, and that's like Shaq, the 2 degrees. If you want any of my cheese, you ever seen that?
No, but
they have to have 2 college degrees if they want to inherit any money from him.
And the thing is his eyes, he never went to college, so that's what was needed for him to validate himself.
Well, not only that, but it was, again, that was the standard. That's until recently, that's what everybody was taught. You got to go to college if you want to be successful.
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's it is the standard of that generation to have that type of standard in place.
Yeah. It's so because that was taught and pushed and so heavy and everybody learned that. And we were taught that too. We just didn't do it. So
But the thing is, like, going to college twice, if you go to college, guarantee Shaq pays for it, and you go and do 8 years at college.
Yeah.
How bad is that?
No, exactly. So,
well, and that's what he is trying to just purvey to his kids is go do 8 years of something you don't want, and you can be set up for life.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
That is literally the premise of it.
If you're not willing to do that, then
you're probably not willing.
You don't deserve it.
You don't deserve it. But the thing is, if you're not willing to do that, you literally don't deserve to make any type of money, because if you don't have that discipline, you'll never make that money. He's teaching them a very solid lesson.
There's nothing wrong with going to college. I just didn't want to pay for it.
That's
That's the only reason I didn't go. I'm not going to put myself into debt.
No, that's different. I couldn't go.
Yeah, I didn't go because I didn't want to. I was lazy. I didn't like schoolwork, so that's another thing that I
don't like schoolwork, but I love the work that I do now. I love learning about what I like. If there was just a course on money back in school,
yeah, right, something we would have paid.
I would have, just like math and science. For some reasons, for science, I still have one of the top scores in New York for the science test, which makes no sense for me.
Yeah,
but it's because I like the subject.
Yep, that's it. I mean, we could get into the standardized school systems and how that's a problem, but
I don't even want to wait until you go to your first parent-teacher conference. You are going to lose your mind. When I went the other day, Jaden, and I mean, this is probably like 2 months ago now. Every time I want to go, I want to punch a teacher in the face. When they go, your kid's amazing, she's like top of the class, but the numbers on the paper state differently, and the state says blank, 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 but you shouldn't worry. Okay, so what are you telling me?
Yeah, literally.
Come out and say, well, I have to show you the paper. I don't care what you have to. I don't care if you got cameras on you. Tell me what I need to know and stop BSing me because you have to.
Yeah.
I just want to know what the heck my kids are doing. Are they good enough in the sense to get to the next grade? Because K through 12 is just, in all honesty, complete BS in the U.S. Like, it is, I've already talked to Abigail about this multiple times, going homeschooling.
Yeah.
Because I just don't have faith.
Yeah.
I want the sociability for my daughter 100% at the school systems. I think that is crucial. But I don't think the school system's worth a damn.
No, and so the only thing, and this is what I was about to say, the only thing that I think, and I did it wrong, but the only thing that I think is beneficial is, so like the projects and stuff that they do.
Yeah.
When you get into middle school and high school, right, where teacher gives you a project and you have a deadline to do it, right? I didn't do them or waited till the last possible minute, and that is a habit that I now carry for the rest of my freaking life. So when I've got something that I don't want to do, I push it all the way until the last minute, then I rush through it. Because I started that streak in school. You know what I mean? And something that I won't let my kids do because now I know how much of a problem it is. I don't care if they get the project right. I want them to learn the habit of getting on it immediately. You know what I mean? Like, I really could care less if they can learn about
they have homework,
the
they
powerhouse
have
of the cell.
Yeah, no.
But as long as they are learning the habits that will make them successful later on, which is what's killing me, you know what I mean? I still do it to this day. If there's a project or something that I'm supposed to estimate, I don't want to. You know what I mean? I'll wait until I told them, hey, give me a week. I'll wait until that day, do it real quick and be done with it instead of just knocking it out that night when I get home.
Mine's, I won't say I'm like that anymore. I just prioritize everything in dollar signs to me. So whatever makes me the most money, if I have 10 things to do, whatever makes me the most money comes first.
Yeah, well, that too, but also, again, there's just certain things that, like, it's something that I don't personally like doing. It needs to be done. I just don't want to do it.
I'm on the opposite. If I don't do it, then I never do it. So I have to do it. And if it's something that takes me a minute to do, and I'm like, I can do it in like 5 days, not 5 days. I'll do it, at the end of the day. I'll forget about it and won't get done. So those small little tasks, if it's anything before, I would say anything underneath 3 minutes, I typically knock them out right away so I don't have to forget about it. But I don't think there's any projects that I take on anymore that I want to claw my eyes out on.
Yeah, it's very few, but it's still like certain.
But I know what you mean. If it is something that, let's just say it's the difference between me making the same amount of money, but me doing a website development or me doing a CRM development, I'm taking CRM all day. And I'm going to push that website off because I don't like graphic design to save my goddamn life. Mm-hmm. But I will push that off until it's like, oh, I have to give it to them in 30 minutes. I got some for you. So,
yeah,
I understand.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I thought, that I would do differently when I'm raising my kids is make sure that they learn the habit of getting things, not procrastinating.
Yeah, and I think it's ironic because I remember, and I don't know if you remember this, but for some reason, in sixth grade, I sucked. Like, I just didn't do anything. Then I went down to Florida.
Yep.
Then as soon as I came back from Florida, for some reason, that 7th grade year, everything was on point, and I didn't miss anything. And then right after that, it slipped right back. The difference, now thinking about it, when I got home, even though maybe I didn't like it, Dad told me I needed to do my homework.
Absolutely. No, that was up until 3rd grade, right, when we moved to Indian Lake.
That is one thing I will say. He did have discipline.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But that's what I'm agreeing with. Like, 3rd grade, we got there halfway through the year. That second half of 3rd grade, I did everything I was supposed to do. 4th grade, nope.
It's because there was
Nobody
just
to tell me to do it.
Exactly. There was just no check. There was no balance. There was no, hey, you have to do this. It was, I got home, threw my bag on the thing, and did whatever I wanted to do.
Yep. So now I will, like I said, that's what I'm changing with my kids. Just the habits, because it did form bad habits. That's the only thing that I'm concerned about. I didn't care about getting the best grades, but now I realize that's where it started. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's putting the stuff off and just doing stuff.
If you get a C, it doesn't freaking matter. What I care about is that you did the task in the time frame that you had to do the task.
Yeah, so like I try now to do, like we talked about, do hard things, right? So I try to do the things that I don't like to do first, most of the time. But it doesn't always happen. I'm still we all fight these things, and it's normal. I just, do your best. I try to do my best now. I don't know how long we've been going for, but we can probably
like 45 minutes.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I just checked, and I was like, wow. I see why I got so many missed calls.
Yeah, I just missed one too. Yeah, there's one. So, okay, all right. Well, we'll cut it off there then, and we'll hit at least one next week. We'll try.
Yeah,
it's got to be Monday or Tuesday, if you can, because I got baby coming.
Yeah. I will make do with something and fit something in.
Okay, just let me know.
Yep.
Or we could probably do Wednesday, because, we could probably do Wednesday, if you can make Wednesday work. Just let me know. Otherwise, anything else you want to add before we go?
No.
Alrighty. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.